Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nedarim, page 16, which discusses a potentially novel way to get yourself away from doing any mitzvos. We know that there is great severity in a person who makes an oath. And if a person, as this entire tractate discusses, makes an oath or some sort of vow, their words are extremely important. And the only way to undo it is perhaps you have to go to a sage to have it removed. Otherwise, you must fulfill exactly what you said. Now, what if a person decides to make a shvuah? They decide to make the following oath. I will not sit in a sukkah. I will not do the mitzvah of shaking a lulav, also on Sukkot. I will not put on tefillin. I'm making an oath to that effect. So, in this situation, there is an actual prohibition of violating an oath. So perhaps that individual is actually not allowed to perform those mitzvos, because by doing that, you're violating the oath that you have created. So in this, the Talmud says that this oath has no merit. It doesn't mean anything. And the reason, although the Talmud does give various verses to support this, it's the idea that when it comes to a mitzvah, this is something in which you are obligated to do. And that is different than a person who on their own makes a certain decision and they decide to make a particular oath or a particular vow and say, I'm deciding not to eat this particular food, or I'm deciding that I'm going to do such and such. These are all things that, with or without an oath, it's really up to you if you would want to do them on a regular day. And therefore, when it comes to those types of things, only do we say that your words have meaning. However, if it's something that has already, way before you, have been set into motion, that these are things that you are supposed to do. Again, a mitzvah, even though many translate that as a good deed, it's actually a commandment. There are 613 commandments that we are supposed to do. So one of them is to sit in a sukkah on the holiday of Sukkot, or to shake this lulav, or, as the Talmud says, to put on a pair of tefillin every weekday morning. So all these things are things that you had to do way before you were born. These laws were already in place. So now that you come along and make a vow, or in this case, specifically a shvuah, that you say this, it will not work. And this is, again, how we understand, because what you're doing when it comes to this particular language is you're saying, I, myself, I will not do this mitzvah. And you don't have the authority or the ability to remove something that was already placed upon you from before. So a person basically cannot make up their own rules. And this perhaps is something that we can relate to in the society that we live in. We certainly want to have an element of autonomy, to be able to feel that we can make our own life decisions. And certainly within the framework of doing things which you're permitted legally to do, certainly we live in a free country and you should have the ability to freely live your life. However, even in that framework, there are laws. So there are certain things, before I was born, there were certain laws that were put into place in this country. So therefore, I can't just wake up and decide I'm going to now pick and choose what I want to do. I'm going to decide to, on my own, make my own rules. No, the rules have already been set in place. And therefore, I have to understand that I am bound by those laws in the country that I live in. And so too, when it comes to Jewish law, once a person accepts upon themselves to do these mitzvot, these are things that one is supposed to do, these are things that are commanded upon you, you no longer can make this vow to not do them.